twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. A very special welcome to those joining us on Amazon Prime, Bell 5, YouTube, and Rakuten. It's the FloHockey Game of the Week. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Muskegon Lumberjacks and Madison Capitals. Once again, welcome back inside. Ezra Janello, Ryan Campo, the Jacks and Caps Clark Cup playoff action. Downstairs, a former Lumberjack. Dropping the ceremonial puck drop, it's Bradley Merrick, a member of the team back in 2021, a current member of the American Hockey League's Iowa Wild. Always awesome, Ryan, to see former players come back to the Lakeshore.
We talk about development and how important that is to, get a ring at the end of the day. That's development example number one. He came here to Muskegon. Now he's doing his thing with the Iowa Wild. Obviously, their parent club onto the second round against the Colorado Avalanche. So it's awesome to see him come back as well. And that shows you the relationship that the whole organizations have with players going forward.
Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for the visiting Capitals of Madison. It's Max Ryder, Sam Capel, and Aero Butella. Harper Frieg and Jet Koasia, all in front of Caleb Heil. The Lumberjacks go with Jonerheim and Bergeron, centered by Thomas Maroon. Belushko and Bukas behind them, and we're underway, Game 2 of the conference final. Heil swipes it far side. Here's Koasia looking to clear his own zone. The Capitals make their way to the Muskegon end. Bukas pushes Ryder down to the ice. Heavy check behind the net. Belushko running into Capel. But now Friga shot blocked by Bergeron, and here he comes up the ice. Ty on the far side, stays onside and gets it deep. Jonerheim bangs a body. Koasia met by Thomas Maroon. Capel, an errant pass, touched on by Ryder, taken by Amico. The Jacks moving left to right across your screens and radios. Here they come to the offensive zone. Jonerheim bangs the body. Here's Drew Stewart. Down low, Novotny. Up top, Amico. Across the way, Larioza fired on. Trickles in on goal. Heil had to kick it away. Larioza keeps it in. Bouncing, it's taken by Capel and cleared out of the zone. Amico back on the near side, sends it in. Wrapped to the far end. It's Tyden Bergeson, tonight's player to watch for the Capitals. Cleared out of the zone. Teddy Lechner right back to the offensive end. Here's Heil behind the net. His stick knocked out of the hands by Sanderson while it's swiped all the way down. A set play. Bergeson negates the icing. Laid back behind the Jacks goal. Thorpe into the boards by Caleb Pitsley. So Drew Stewart comes in to help out. Now it's Sanderson in his own zone. The Jacks captain donning a full face shield after taking a stick. The paddle from the netminder to the mouth last night. Here comes Thorpe up the middle. Taken away by Nolan Gertis. Now here's John Stout. Heavy check by Thorpe. Here comes Cover. Fired and scores! An early lead for Madison. Our first stoppage of the game, and it's Steven Cover who gives the Caps a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and it comes off the play. Gus Thorpe pushing the pace, loses the puck at center ice. Instead of dropping back into his position, goes forward with it, trying to create some pressure. No communication, and it's a 2-on-1, and Cover makes the Jacks pay. The first shot of the evening finds the back of the net. The Caps trying to find a stranglehold on this series. Couldn't ask for a better start in this one.
Future Providence Friar Steven Cover, 2009 birth year, out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, his first season of USHL action. Here's Christ, an 05 out of Chaska, Minnesota. Plays it near side for Vukas. Jack's back in the offensive zone. Dexter Brooks taken away by Christ. Now Burzkons battling behind the net, works to the near side. Up top finds Vukas. Bronco fires on. Heil loves it from the bottom of the ice and holds on for the stoppage.
And that's one of those plays that Colton St. Clair mentioned last night, just shooting just to shoot. Nobody in front of the net, which, I mean, that's not Bronco's fault. You're putting the puck on the ice trying to make a play as we get a look at the goal scorer for the Caps.
Stephen Cover mentioned Harrisburg, Pennsylvania native. Future Providence Friar in the Hockey East gives his team a 1-0 lead here in Game 2. Zemidis will take the draw near side of the Madison zone. Benson and Blanchard his wings. Gustis was out of the lineup last night, Ryan. Slots in as the Lumberjacks, they opt for the extra forward, looking for a couple extra goals. Here's Koasia far side. Pushed forward, led up the ice. Gustav's Grieva taken away by Blanchard. Back to the offensive end, the Lumberjacks. Koasia taken away. Benson can't pull the trigger. Blanchard follows up. Back to Benson. He can't fire it. Varala knocks it away, and Grieva leads the rush. Centers for Cooper Snee, taken back by Larioza. Now Benson across the way. Blanchard sends it in. Carries it across the blue line, stays on side, and behind the net he sends it. Played to the near side for Max Ryder. Over the red line he skates. Taken back by Gus Thorpe. Looking for a better second shift than the first. He blows a tire. Lechner across the way. Here comes Thomas Maroon. Takes a check from Capel. Near side, here's John Stout. Back to the offensive end. Ryder drops off. Gertis fires on. Blocked by Thorpe. It's caught up in his midsection. Now falls to the ice. It's back up with Gertis. Near side, Butella fires high and wide. Gertis gets it far side of the blue line. Cuts to the middle. Fires again. Turned aside. Rebounds right behind the net by Ryder. Butella off for Capel. Some extended zone time for Madison. Thorpe pins Capel to the boards. Puck comes to the near side. Battle continues. Bergeron in for the Lumberjacks. Now Thorpe across the way. Capel, his counterpart once again, a future Minnesota State Maverick. Two of them coming together. Thorpe plays it to the near side. Bergeron clears it off the glass. Looks to win a race into the offensive zone. Here's Jonerheim near side. Taken away by Bergeson and across the way. Nevers, plenty of space. Fires off the blocker of Axelson. Now Pitsley with it. Back down low for Ferguson. To the far side, up top, Brooks, D to D, Baird Guidos. Fires on, it's blocked by Amico. Tapped for Stewart, kept in by Brooks. On the far side, works down the wall. Behind the net, Bergeson. To the near corner, cycles it back across the way. Belushko, D to D with Amico. To the near side, Carter Sanderson. Met by Baird Guidos, there you hear Belushko calling for it, he gets the pass. Jonerheim can't clear it. Nevers keeps it in. Far side, he fires. It's blocked by Amico. Now here's Drew Stewart. He'll use his speed. Leads a 3-on-2 rush to the offensive zone. Across the way, Chris. Back to Amico. He scores! Carter Amico ties the game 1-1.
How about the heads-up play? Jack Chris coming right off the bench. Sees his head up. Sees Amico driving to the net. We talk about how active the defensemen are for Muskegon. Perfect play, Stewie, Chris, Amico, and Caleb Heil is human. He allows an early goal on just the second shot. Good on Meeks. He gets a fist bump from head coach Colton St. Clair and some talking to, but a big response after Madison had carried a lot of the ozone time here in the opening 5 minutes. Good response from Muskegon.
Shots are 2 apiece. The score is 1 apiece. Carter Amico, future Boston Terrier and Philadelphia Flyers draft pick, finds the back of the net. His first goal of the postseason ties it 1-1. It evens the momentum as well. Madison, a fiery start to this one. Now the Lumberjacks possess the puck and the momentum. Larioza behind his own net. Sets up a structured breakout. Up the far side, long stretch pass for Burzkons. Noringer just a step ahead of the play, called offside. 14:36 to go in the first. We get our first media timeout of the evening, but already a pair of goals in the back of the net. 1-1 here in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final, the FloHockey Game of the Week.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
A friendly reminder that this Muskegon Lumberjacks broadcast is brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance. For over 100 years, Auto Owners has been dedicated to the independent agency system. Get local support from somebody you know. Whether it's home, auto, life, or business, ask your independent agent if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you. Welcome back inside Trinity Health Arena. FloHockey Game of the Week. It's the Lumberjacks and Capitals. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. Already 1-1. Ezra Janello alongside Ryan Campo. Ryan, much different start to this one than last night.
Yeah, we waited so long last night for offense. Here we get fireworks early, and a bit of a difference too. Madison controlling a lot of the play. Last night we saw a lot of that from Muskegon, but good on the Jacks for also making sure they capitalize on the chances they do get.
Heavy check by Benson onto Koasia, who gets the puck back, though, now in the neutral zone. Jet Koasia poked off his stick. Here come the Jacks. It's Blanchard, one-on-one on Freak. Poked off his stick, gets it back away from Doshin, and now here's Vukas. Near side of the blue line, cuts to the middle and fires, though it's blocked by Cover, regained by Benson. His shot held on to by Heil for the stoppage, and an offensive zone face-off for the Lumberjacks.
Good stick-to-itiveness from the Jacks there, not only keeping the puck in the blue line, but also Bronco Vukas showing his patience that we've seen so many times this year. Patience, getting a shot on goal. I love the play from Benson as well, ramping up the physicality. They're going to need that.
Stewart with Novotny and Sanderson. Great face-off win by Stewart. Now here's Belushko. Down the wall to Stewart. Pops out in front of the net. Puck trickles through the crease. Tapped on by Sanderson. Heil has to make a couple of saves and does so effectively. And Sanderson, despite the full face shield, is just going to keep doing what he does best, and that's mixing it up after the whistle.
Do you think that gives him a little added incentive now that knowing he's not going to take a shot in the chops to maybe muck it up a little bit more than what he already does?
I can't imagine that that shin feels good with the full face shield. Carter Amico, the goal scorer, we mentioned Philadelphia Flyers second-round pick last summer. This is an interesting story, Ryan. He starts the year in the NCAA at Boston University. He's coming off a pair of knee injuries and not a full season each of the last 2 years of the NTDP. He is so much better prepared to go back to the Boston Terriers next season after a great stint here in Muskegon. Hopefully a couple more hockey games before the end of the season.
Another prime example. We talked about the development, getting them to the next level.
Amico near side of his own zone. Stewart battling for it. Battle continues with Belushko. Capel taken away by Stewart, centered for Novotny. He gets it far side and drops off for Amico. Behind his own net, talk a lot about trust from college and NHL teams. Amico had his pick of the litter where he could go. He came to Muskegon. Novotny taps it on. It's turned aside by Heil. Back out to Melvin, who fires. This time it trickles wide off the stick of Baird Gaidos. Novotny cycles it back to the near side. Sanderson thought about going, now backs out. As it's chipped down the ice, Larioza picks it up. The Jacks start a line change. Taken away by Ryder at the center ice logo, and now Baird Gaidos. On the near side, Gustav Skriva. Off for a teammate, Lucas Prudhomme. Talk about physicality. One of the tallest forwards in the USHL throws a check onto Larioza. Here's Bergeron near side of his own blue line. Cycles it and fires it across the way for Larioza, who sets up a structured breakout. Teddy Lechner near side, another NHL Central scouting list member for the Lumberjacks. came back to Muskegon after finishing the high school year. Jonerheim colliding with Heil, plays it out to the blue line, but a line change sends the puck all the way back to the Muskegon zone. But now here comes Thomas Maroon back in, fires it out in front. Great play by Brooks, shut down Jonerheim. Puck cleared back to the neutral zone. Thorpe, far side. Bergeron avoids a check from Nevers. The puck taken by Freak. Up the near side, Bergeson sends it deep. Axelson behind the net. Great play, kicks it to his stick and then swipes it far side. Nevers knocked it down, holds it, and plays up top to Koasia. Here's Freak, fires on into the glove of Axelson, who makes the save. No rebound to be had.
A good confident save. That's the first shot he's seen in a while, which we saw the same thing last night as well. Good confident save.
We'll take a look at the two netminders, Carl Axelson, Caleb Heil. The conversation going into this series is you've got two of the top netminders in the USHL across the ice from each other. Tonight, it's been about the goal scorers, but I think as we settle into things, you're going to see the goalies really take control of the contest.
Yeah, it'll be an exact replica of what transpired last night. A lot of remarkable saves and some frustrated skaters on both sides.
Here comes Jack Christ, the offensive zone. Fires on, it's kicked away by Heil. Burrs calls near corner, taken away by Pitsley, but here's Amico. His long shot held on to as well. And the Lumberjacks will get another offensive zone draw. You know, Ryan, we built this broadcast rundown on game day, and I set what it's going to look like for the broadcast. We have a great production crew that makes it come to life once puck drop comes, but I share it with the visiting broadcaster, and tonight that's Drew Steele from Madison. First stoppage, goaltending matchup. Well, how do you let him know after the goal scored is the first stoppage? Now we're all messed up, right? It's so crazy. Hockey's so unpredictable. A great play by our production crew, getting the goal scorers, Cover and Amico, and the goaltending matchup here early as well. 11:23 to go in this opening frame. Here's Burrs, calls middle of the ice. Gets it back to the offensive zone, but now Koasia, D-to-D with Freak. Bobbles possession and plays up the near side. Missed on the pass, though icing waved off. We only had 2 icing calls in the game last night. Both of them came late in the third period. Here's Doshin. Off for Amico. Far side, Belushko looks to break it out. To the near side for Zemaitis. Doshin sends it back to the Muskegon end. Belushko swipes it far side. Christ centers for Noringer off the back of his skate. It's picked up by Madison and Michael Tank. Now Loper Coburn across the way. Gertis drops for it. Pinned to the boards by Gustas Zemaitis. The Lumberjacks hemmed in their zone. Find Chris, and now here comes Noringer. Far side, Chris, plenty of space, leads the rush. Jack fires off the mask of Heil. Oh, that was a rocket ship of a shot from Chris, who can shoot it like none other. Zemaitis and Benson work to keep it in, though on the far side, Butella clears the zone. Here's Benson. Looking for Zemaitis, it's in onto Heil, who continues play near side. Zemaitis taps it to the corner, and it's just played out of the zone by Stout. Benson gets it back. Now here comes Blanchard, the offensive end. Chuck off for Benson. Nice move. Fires just wide. Teddy Lechner now. Down to the corner. Played back door. Stewart kicked it to his stick, and now here's Blanchard up top for Larioza. Sent down to the corner. D-to-D. Stout gets it from Gertis, and here comes Max Ryder. The Jacks in the midst of a line change. Bukas, fresh on the ice, forces Ryder into a dump and change.
We saw that a lot last night. Relentless pressure from the Muskegon defense, not letting Madison try to use their speed to their advantage. That's physical at the blue line. They try to chip and chase. Good on Muskegon for keeping it locked down.
Shots 11-3 in favor of the Jacks. 9.5 to go in the first. Here's Cooper Snee. Heavy check by Sanderson, knocks him down. A shot on net. Trickled in onto Heil, who poked it away. Snee back to his feet, plays forward for Varala. Met by Thorpe, he skates behind the net. Snee takes possession at the Zamboni doors. It's Thorpe who plays it to the far side. Looking for Novotny, instead finds Varala. Snee back in the corner. To the near side, a race for possession, won by Vukas. Here's Sanderson now. Centered for Stewart, near side Novotny, back to Stewart on a give and go play. Drew fires on, though the Jacks called offside. And Varala and Snee will give some words for Drew Stewart. We got a 1-1 hockey game, 8:46, a whole lot of fun here early. The FloHockey game of the week, Lumberjacks and Caps. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. We come back after this. Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. Ezra Janello, Ryan Campo. Ryan, we talked about it in that break. You're starting to see the game get back to what it looked like last night through the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, and that's a credit to Muskegon. Obviously, it's not the start you want, and we've touched on that so much of how vital that is for Muskegon and starting on time, getting the momentum right off the jump. But we've seen that a couple times, especially in Game 5. Dubuque scored first. Muskegon followed suit with 6. So obviously, different team, but a strong response from Muskegon so far.
Carter Amico, the Jacks goal scorer, sends it in. Here's Thomas Maroon up to Belushko. Back to ATM on the wall and down low, Bergeron. Far side corner, pinned to the boards by Dexter Brooks. Jonerheim looks to get possession. He does, and he carries it behind the net. Keeps it far side, knocked to his knees, but now finds Bergeron in open ice. Near side wall, tie, into the boards by Caleb Pitsley. Keeps possession as he works up the wall. Now here's Amico. His shot blocked by Pitsley. Bergeson behind the defense. Axelson strays from the crease to keep it away from the dangerous Minnesota State champion. Now on the near side of the Jack zone, it's Nevers who battles for it, though Bergeron who comes away with it. Takes a heavy check from Nevers. Battle continues. ATM follows through with a check, and now Amico flips it across to Belushko. Adam gains the red line and sends it in, though it ramps off a Capital stick and out of play. The faceoff will come back to center ice. Ryan, we never met the officiating crew assigned by the United States Hockey League. Cameron Giancarlo and Ryan Baker working the game. They're joined by Wyatt Corrigan and AJ Kostad, who work the lines.
Yeah, hopefully a group that wants to keep things as calm as they can after whistles, not so much like what we saw last series.
Here comes Larry Oza, soft touch, now fires on, shouldered away by Heil. Stout works up the near side, calls his own number up to the red line, taken away by Noringer after a good stick lift from Christ. Here comes Burrs, calls the offensive zone. Rudy met by a pair of white jerseys, pinned to the boards. Noringer comes in to fish it out. The battle continues. 3 white jerseys in the area, though Stout lost his stick, and now here's Noringer. Works down the wall, fires on. Great save by Heil. The rebound was loose. Steven Cover, a heads-up play, sends it down to the Muskegon zone. Here's Teddy Lechner. Doshin, soft pressure as Lechner sets up a structured breakout. Both teams starting line changes. Benson and Cullen back on for the Jacks. They're joined by Blanchard. Heil plays it across to Coasia. Up the middle of the ice finds Capel. Now Ryder to the offensive zone, far side, hits the brakes, looking for the trailer. It comes to Freak. He keeps it in away from Blanchard. Pushed down the wall off the backside of Butilla, and the Jacks clear the danger. But only momentarily. Here comes Ryder back in. Good touch by Benson. Now here's Cullen. Over the red line, off for Benson. Niles chips it deep. Jacks are offside. Blanchard gets out of the zone, but here comes Freak with it. D-to-D with Coasia. To the near side, Ryder. Chips it past Vukas, but here's Amico on it. Behind the net, Gustav Skriva. Far side of the blue line, Varala. Flips it near side, first out, and down low, it's Coasia. Taken away by Vukas, and now Novotny leads the rush. Taps it towards the middle. Stout shading over, shuts it down. We talked a lot in the pregame about John Stout's defensive ability. Now Varala poked away by Belushko. He has it behind his own net. Adam across the way, Drew Stewart. Over the red line to the offensive zone. Drops off for Sanderson. Varala got in the way of it. Griva picks it back up, and now Amico on his own half of the ice plays off for Novotny. Sanderson gets it deep to the offensive zone. 5.5 to go in the opening period. A 1-1 game here in the second of the Eastern Conference Final. Here's Lechner near side. Fires on. It's turned away by Heil. Novotny gloves it down. Fires back behind the net. Sanderson back out in front. Stewart a try. Great save by Heil. Got a lot of oohs and ahs from the crowd on that save. Larioza D-to-D with Lechner. Back to Nate Larioza, Los Gatos, California native. Pushes forward for Noringer, who gets it deep. Victor wins the race for the puck. Plays across to Christ, up top to Larioza. Fanned on the one-time shot. It comes back to Noringer, though, in the neutral zone. Nate Larioza on his own end. Bergeson cutting off the D-to-D pass, so now here's Burzkalt. Across to Christ, snapping it around. Jack Christ to Noringer, back in front. Tapped just wide by Larioza. Pretty passing by the Lumberjacks, looking to break the tie. Here's Larioza far side. Pushed on, Heil kicks it aside. There, Guidos to the near side for Bergeson. Just out of the zone. Bukas keeps it close. Centers for Burzkalt. Rudy knocked away by Bergeson, but here's Noringer far side. To the near side of the blue line for Vukas. A bouncing puck on the rough ice late in this period. It comes back out to Thorpe. He'll send it in. Heil stops it behind the net. Played off the near wall. Set play. Here comes Doshin working on Amico. Drops off for Cover. Fired on just wide. The rebound comes to Jonerheim, who clears the zone. Off for Bergeron. To the near side, Thomas Maroon with it. Hits the brakes, now cuts to the near corner. Behind the net for Bergeron. Takes a check from Brooks. Kicks out to Jonerheim. Works up the far wall and back to the corner behind the net, Bergeron. To the near side, he looks. Popped out in front for Jonerheim. A great shot, but a better save. Puck is loose. Bergeron whacks for it. It goes to the corner. Doshin taken away by Ty. Now Thomas Maroon back to Bergeron. Wraps it near side. Teddy Lechner on it. Cycles down for ATM. Now Bergeron takes a check and leaves off for Thomas Maroon. It's picked up by Belushko, and now Lechner centers. Jonerheim loses a tire. It's sent down the ice by Cover. An icing waved off. Axelson had left his crease. Here's Teddy Lechner. D-to-D with Belushko. Shots 18-3 in favor of the Jacks. Under 3 minutes to go in the period. Zemaitis steps across the blue line, down towards the corner, right into the boards by Sam Capel. Back to his feet, he plays behind the net for Blanchard. Chuck to the near side. He's pinned to the boards by John Stout. Benson and Zemaitis looking to help out. Stout joined by Capel in the area. Puck goes off the boards and into the neutral zone. Back to receive it, Bronco Vukas in his own end. 2.5 to go in the frame. Vukas to the near side for Zemaitis. Gustis softly ahead for Benson. Met quickly by a capital, that's Eero Butila. Looking to force it out of the zone, Niles Benson. Great effort, gets it across the blue line before he's knocked down. Back to his feet, continues to battle across from Capel. Blanchard in the effort as well, so is Bronco Vukas. It comes away towards Ryder, who gets it to the Muskegon zone. Great check by Benson. Shuts Ryder down at the top of the circles. Here's Vukas, shovels it way high and into the Muskegon bench. Just out of the reach of Callie Sitter, the team athletic trainer. So the Lumberjacks, they can change, but the faceoff will come back to the Muskegon zone.
And the referee's trying to figure out if they're going to allow Muskegon to change or what. And puck will be inside. The faceoff will be just to the left of Axelson, but no change as well. And we talk about Carl not seeing a lot of shots. It's gone 10, 11 minutes since Carl's last seen a puck in front of him.
They're trying to figure out if the puck had bounced into the seating bowl or into the Lumberjacks bench. You saw the Jacks coaching staff trying to say it was in the bench, but ultimately it was in the seating bowl. Here's Frieg across the way. Great play by Blanchard, intercepts the pass. He'll carry it up the near side. Over the red line, he gets it deep, takes a check for his efforts. But the Jacks can start a line change. It's Sanderson and Stewart who jump on. They're now joined by Novotny with 90 seconds to go in the period. Frieg up the near side for Grieva. All the way down the ice, and we get our first icing call. It's against Madison. Now they can't change, and the Lumberjacks get an offensive zone draw.
A very early icing call comparative to what happened last night, but it's still wild that it takes almost a full period to have an icing. And that's the tightness of what this game is. A lot of dump and change, a lot of dump and send the F1 through.
Stewart will take the draw near side. Novotny and Sanderson on his flanks. One back by Stewart. Now here's Lechner. Off for Novotny. Fired on. It's a glove save. That follows from Heil. Madison can get the line change they were looking for. They get their top unit on. It's Pitley and Bergeson, centered by Nevers.
And it's a smart shot. Sando's in front, trying to create a screen, maybe a tip in front. So a good, smart shot by Melvin there, as you see it on the M-Live replay. Sando in front trying to create a redirection. It's going to be one of those greasy goals that beats one of these goaltenders, and that's a good way to do it.
Face-off turns to a battle, won by the Capitals. Gertis ahead for Nevers. Novotny gets it in the neutral zone. A soft touch finds Thorpe. Now here's Stewart, centered. Sanderson holds and fires. Turned aside, the rebound turned aside as well by Heil. A couple of future Fighting Hawks with two different goals, and this time Heil, he gets the better of Sanderson. Here's Novotny off for Stewart to the offensive zone. Drew near side, nice toe drag, can't pull the trigger. Goes down to the ice. Here's Novotny in the corner. Up to the blue line for Vukas. Across for Larioza. Fired on off the back wall. It comes to Novotny near side. Great play by Melvin. Back down to Stewart. Up top to Larioza. The puck bounces into the neutral zone. Vukas wraps it hard back in. Noringer joined by Christ and Burzkons fresh on. Jack Christ keeps it in. Nevers clears the zone. It's sent towards the Muskegon end. Burzkons takes it back. Near side Vukas. 12 seconds to go in the frame. A touch for Christ, taken away by Baird Gaidos. Now here's Bergeson, 5 seconds to go in the frame. Dumps it in, Cover meets it, poked away by Larioza, and that'll do it for the opening period. Our first stoppage of the game was a goal from Stephen Cover and the Capitals. The Lumberjacks responded with a tally from the defenseman Carter Amico. And a lot of shots since then, but only for one team. We take a step aside and come back for the first intermission report. It's the USHL FloHockey Game of the Week. Lumberjacks and Caps here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp.
Man, I miss working from home.
Tell me about it. I work great from home.
Michael scores! Home crowd loved it.
I collaborate just fine from home.
What's full on home ice?
I like the environment more.
I think I'm more productive at home.
Some say there's too many distractions at home.
All right, maybe that one's true.
Hockey hits harder on Flo. One-time shot, he scores! At FloHockey, we love the game. Every shift, every hit, every goal. From rising phenoms to historic programs, get front row access to hockey's future stars. The AHL, the ECHL, the USHL, the O, the Q, and more. Don't just watch hockey, live it. Get your annual Flo subscription now.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
Hockey hits harder on Flo. One-time shot, he scores! At FloHockey, we love the game. Every shift, every hit, every goal. From rising phenoms to historic programs, get front row access to hockey's future stars. The AHL, the ECHL, the USHL, the O, the Q, and more. Don't just watch hockey, live it. Get your annual Flo subscription now.
Orthopedic Associates of Muskegon is the largest orthopedic practice on the Lakeshore. Our fellowship-trained sports medicine specialists will help you choose the best treatment for your injury. Whether that's a non-surgical approach like physical therapy, bracing, or pain management, or the latest surgical technique, you can be the active, healthy person you were meant to be. Call us today to make an appointment, or make an appointment online at oamkg.com.
Think back to the beginning. That first game. That first jersey. That first moment when you knew you'd found your place. What you wear today started with a feeling. A feeling that changed everything. NHL Shop, a Fanatics experience.
Welcome back inside Trinity Health Arena. FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network presented by Gray Supply Corp. Ezra Janello, Ryan Campo, the USHL game of the week, game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. First intermission report, Ryan, a 1-1 hockey game, 20 minutes gone. A lopsided shot total again, 22-3, but this is exactly what both teams are looking for. The Lumberjacks, they want all the offense, they want all the shots. I don't think they've had a period with 22 shots yet this season. Madison, meanwhile, they want a tie game. They want to keep it close through to the third period.
And to your point of the 3 shots, I think they ended the period at least the last 9-10 minutes without a shot, and that's a credit to Muskegon flipping the ice, kind of like what Madison did last night. Off that opening goal from the Caps, Muskegon completely flipped all momentum, getting the equalizer there, and all in all, a really good period where we were 24 hours ago. A good start. Now you just got to continue that, and you got to be able to put the puck in the back of the net as well.
Let's take a look at the highlights from that first period. There were plenty of things to talk about in the frame. A lot less teeth lost in this period, but a lot more goals. Steven Cover finds the back of the net first for Madison. For Cover, the future Providence Friar, that's his first playoff goal for the 2009 birth year, his first year of USHL action. That was one of 3 shots on goal for Madison in the opening period. Here come the Lumberjacks and their first goal. Stewart across to Chris, and then the defenseman Carter Amico, his first Clark Cup playoff goal. Following up in the play, joining the effort, shooting to score, most importantly for the Lumberjacks, forcing Heil side to side to tie the game up at 1 apiece.
In that backwards view, I didn't catch it when the goal initially scored, was the screen from his own defenseman that Heil unable to see the puck. So good on Amico for using that to his advantage. Obviously, you're going to take it in a game, in a series where you know Caleb Heil is going to stand on his head. So you'll take it, you'll move on, and then try to create more traffic and other sorts of things that they can create in front, a loose puck here and there, and jam home a rebound.
It was a lot of fun in that opening period. The Lumberjacks and Capitals, they're tied up at 1 apiece. The physicality you see is ramping up, but the Lumberjacks really, the physicality below the hash marks, that's really where they're making the difference felt in this first period. The Louis Jonerheim turnover from Caleb Heil behind the net, that's what he's been doing all playoffs long.
Yeah, and the 2 or 3 plays they did, get with that battle off the boards or off the half wall, it turned into scoring opportunities like this, and having Caleb Heil make 2 or 3 saves that he needs his team to keep into it.
It's been a lot of fun. The Lumberjacks and Capitals tied up at 1 apiece through 20 minutes. Game 2 of this Eastern Conference Final. If Madison comes away with a win, they take a 2-0 series lead back home for Game 3 next week, just like they did last playoffs round. The Lumberjacks, they look to respond and even up this series before it shifts to Game 3, just like they had done last playoffs round. Only one team gets their wish. We get our next period of hockey, but first we take a wide look around the USHL, the out-of-town scoreboard, and the talking points for the second period when we come back for this first intermission report here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp.
Think back to the beginning. That first game. That first jersey. That first moment when you knew you'd found your place. What you wear today started with a feeling. A feeling that changed everything. NHL Shop, a Fanatics experience.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
Orthopedic Associates of Muskegon is the largest orthopedic practice on the lakeshore. Our fellowship-trained sports medicine specialists will help you choose the best treatment for your injury. Whether that's a non-surgical approach like physical therapy, bracing, or pain management, or the latest surgical technique, you can be the active, healthy person you were meant to be. Call us today to make an appointment, or make an appointment online at oamkg.com.
Welcome back inside Trinity Health Arena. Ezra Janelle, Ryan Campo. Ryan, final thoughts from that first period. For starters, the Lumberjacks, 22 shots on goal, right? That feels like it's going to be the norm during this series. And if Madison continues on to the Clark Cup final, Fargo or Sioux Falls, you know you're going to get a lot of shots on goal. What's not the norm is a lot of shots met by a very little bit amount of goals.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, for Carl Axelson, staying mentally locked in. You're not seeing a lot of rubber thrown at you. And it's hard for goaltenders to mentally stay locked in. So it's going to be key for him down the rest of this one, especially to stay mentally locked in, because just like last night, it was timely saves that he made to keep Muskegon ahead or keep it 1-1 before, Madison eventually scored to get the game winner. But it's for him, just as hard as the players trying to get past Caleb Heil.
Reminder of how we got here. We take a look at the USHL Clark Cup brackets. First, the Eastern Conference bracket. You see Madison and Muskegon in this conference final. Madison, this is the same story as it was last round. You go in and you dominate on the road, not necessarily through 60 minutes, but you need 2 minutes of good hockey, and you eke out a win with Caleb Heil in the crease. Same story for the Lumberjacks. They went 5 games against Dubuque. They lost game 1. It was a really fantastic response in Game 2 of that Eastern Conference semifinal matchup. We take a look at the Western Conference bracket. Their final 2 teams, Sioux Falls and Fargo, their game has yet to get going. Still about 15 minutes to go until puck drop from the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. A 1-0 series lead for the Herd after a commanding win in which they scored 6 goals on A.J. White last night. Now, Ryan, you and I, we talked about it during the broadcast last night. The decision to ride one goalie versus going with the dual goalies. The Lumberjacks had Peck and Gaziev last year. Fargo, they traded away Alan Lendak halfway through the season to Des Moines. They bring in a player to help out on that push for the postseason. But now you have a situation where their other goalie He's on the roster for Team Slovakia at the Under-18 Worlds. So A.J. White, it's actually a situation that when I first got to Muskegon during 22-23, Rathan Robbins, he had emergency backup goalies nearly every game the entire second half of the season. Last night, A.J. White, you don't want to hurt his confidence. You don't want to keep him in a blowout. They had no other option, an emergency backup goalie, and now they need a big response from their netminder after giving up 6 goals in the first game of their conference final.
Yeah, and he was one of the top goalies among the leaders in all statistical categories throughout the year. You expect that from him tonight and from the team as well from Fargo. There's no slouch that they're one of the Final Four teams as 1 and 2, but a big response just like Muskegon tonight for the Force.
Back here in Muskegon, we're making our way. We're very close, just a couple minutes until the start of the second period. Lumberjacks are leading the shots. They find themselves again in a tied game in the first intermission. What's the message in the Lumberjacks locker room? I know we talk a lot about just doing what you're doing, right? Statistics say you guys are leading this game, but history tells us that you keep it close like this and Madison's going to strike late.
I think it goes back to what head coach Colton St. Clair said to us last night. He felt like things and players got away from what they were doing, and ultimately that's when Madison capitalized. So, yeah, it's the cliche, hey, stick with what you're doing. One of them's bound to go in, but at the same time, it's you got to stay locked in. You got to stay even course with what your goal is, what the coaching staff expects from you. Obviously, everyone has their own sort of, goals and reasons why they're on this team in terms of where they're at, physicality, goal scorers, you name it. But again, it's the same thing we said last night after one. Stay the course. More traffic, I think, still has to be, though, the biggest relying factor for Muskegon going into period 2.
And for Madison, I think they are the Rocky Balboa of the USHL right now, right? They're going to eat punches. They're just trying to survive till that last round when they're going to have all this energy built up, and they're just going to flip the switch and bang. It's a movie, right? You can eat all these punches and not get hurt. Well, for Madison, it's not a movie, right? They got to do something here. You can't survive. As much as it's been working so far, that you can't survive giving up 22 shots in a period. What do they have to change to keep the Lumberjacks offense at bay?
Just start throwing pucks at net and use the fact that you didn't test Axelson all that much in the first. Maybe, catch him sleeping, if you will, but just like how they did last night, and we've seen it a couple times in the first, shots to D to D and a shot right to the center of the ice, not even shooting at the goaltender, trying to hit a body, trying to hit a stick in front and use that to their advantage.
Well, the Lumberjacks, they want to repeat the period from the last time, just maybe not the first shot of the game. Steven Cover, his first of the postseason, gave Madison a 1-0 lead. Carter Amico, his first of the postseason, tied the game up at 1 apiece. That's where we stand right now. Second period action, it comes up when we come back here on the USHL Game of the Week on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by the Gray Supply Corp. Ezra Janello joined by Ryan Campo. Second period action of Game 2 of this Eastern Conference Final. A 1-1 tie game, Ryan. The Lumberjacks, they flipped their way. They've got the long change. What do they have to do here? Is it the physicality? Is it, you mentioned the traffic, but the physicality, I still think it is. It's a different story when you're playing against a team like Madison versus a team like Dubuque. We talked a lot about the Lumberjacks dominating a smaller frame team in the Fighting Saints. Madison, they're younger than Dubuque, but they're much bigger than them.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do, the little things. We talk about roles, and your best players got to step up, and we're still waiting to see that. We've seen it, from time to time again. Caleb Heil obviously saying otherwise to him, but I think to your point, it's physicality, and you love the response from the coaching staff, the hand claps, the saying, hey guys, we're good, we're in the same spot, positivity, because yes, this is frustrating for any hockey player. You have 22 shots and 1 goal, positivity and physicality.
Thomas Maroon, Yonerheim, and Bergeron kick us off. The Jacks win the draw. They go right to left across your screens and radios, and immediately they go to the offensive zone. Yonerheim knocked down to the ice, but the puck goes to Bergeron. He kicks out for Thomas Maroon. Taken by Max Ryder on the far side. Heavy check by Yonerheim, but here comes Butilla. The offensive zone away from Amico. Hits the brakes on the wall, and centers in front, fired on. Belushko had to block this shot. Almost a really dangerous turnover in the Muskegon zone. Jet Kowasia plays up the near side. Icing waved off. Here's Axelson back to Belushko on the wall. Taken away by Pitsley, centered for Nevers, and across the way, Bergeson. Whistle blown, too many men on the ice. Our first stoppage of this second period, and it's the Lumberjacks who are going to the box.
Yeah, and it comes back to communication and making sure you know who's coming out, but it was a good 10 seconds before the officials realizing the fact that they had 6 players, and I think it helped that Madison's bench was up in arms, and rightfully so, with 6 guys on the ice. So Muskegon first time to the penalty kill, 20 out of 22 so far this postseason, something they've relied on and done well with. They've got 2 shorthanded goals, and a big one here to start the opening, or the second period rather.
Caps power play was 0 for 3 last night. They get their first chance of this contest. Capel, Bergeson, and Butilla, with Gertis and Kowasia on for the Caps. Battle near side corner. Burzkals takes it away and sends it down the ice. He's joined by Noringer up front. Thorpe and Bukas behind him. Heil stops the puck for Gertis, and now here's Kowasia. Centers for Bergeson. Near side Capel. Off the back wall, Bergeson knocked down by Vukas, and Burzkals for the second straight play gets the puck down the ice. It's Anthony Thomas Maroon who serves the bench minor for the Lumberjacks. Too many men on the ice, the call. Here's Gertis, his stick lifted by Stewart, taking away possession. Drew from his own zone, up for Blanchard. Backwards to Stewart. He sends it all the way the length of the ice. It's gloved down by Heil. Looking at his options, leaves it behind the net for Gertis. Line change for both teams. Grieva jumps on the ice, so does Michael Tang. He'll lead the rush. Centers for Grieva. Across the way, Ryder back out in front. Thorpe deflected the pass below the goal line. Now here's Ryder, top of the circle. His shot blocked by Thorpe. Looks like he feels it, but he stays in the play. Here's Tang, 40 seconds to go on the advantage. Future Harvard Crimson up top finds Stout, future Wisconsin Badger. The 2 playing pass, now Pitsley looking for Ryder. It comes up top to Stout, he keeps it in. Near side Grieva, top of the circle, works down the wall, in the corner Ryder, back to Grieva at the hash marks. Cuts to the middle, down low Ryder, pops out in front. Heavy check by Larioza, knocks Ryder down, allowing Axelson to pick up possession.
Not once, but twice. Gus Thorpe blocks the shot, gets a stick in the lane, and then good collapsing there defensively by Muskegon. You see him drive to the net. Not 1, but 2 guys take the body, put him on his back, leaves Carl Axelson a nice, juicy puck just standing there, and holds on to calm things down.
We talked about Rudy Burzkals having to prove why he's ranked 30th among North American skaters. Not 1, but 2 stints on that penalty kill, really clogging up the middle of the ice and sending the puck down the other end 2 times on that kill. Here's Kowasia near side. His pass deflected away by Amico. Butilla taken away by Stewart. Drew will poke it to the neutral zone. Here comes Kowasia back in. He'll send it in. 2 seconds left on the power play. Axelson far side. Butilla took it away, but now here come the Lumberjacks. Novotny ahead. Thomas Maroon leads the rush. Across the blue line for Larioza. Back out in front for Stewart. He couldn't pull the trigger. Now numbers in favor of Madison. It's Cooper Snee who leads the rush. Cuts across the way and finds Doshin fresh on the ice. The Lumberjacks, a good recovery on the back check, and now they make their way up the ice. Novotny across for Stewart. True to the offensive zone, fires a shot, blocked by Freak. Now it's Cover with it. Up the near side, over the red line, now the blue, middle of the ice, kicks out to Sneap. Poked away by Benson. Belushko across for Christ, joined by Sanderson and Benson. Niles gets a pass, carries the offensive zone, a nice move out in front, turned aside the rebound. Tapped on by Sanderson. Heil able to make this save, and now Doshin wants a piece of the Lumberjacks captain.
Sando taking two guys on at once, and a customer that has no issue with doing that. But good drive to the net by Benson as we check out the M-Live replay. We've seen his shiftiness, his elusiveness. Last night in Game 1, we saw it in Game 5 against Dubuque as well, with that pretty goal that he scored to bury the nail in the Dubuque season. He can do that. It comes in spurts, but he shows it off when defensemen least expect it. Catch him flat-footed, uses elusiveness, uses speed to get around him, drive to the net, create a scoring opportunity.
3:40 gone in this second period. The Lumberjacks 1 for 1 on the kill. They have not allowed a shot in this second period, despite being shorthanded. Here's Vukas in the neutral zone, sends it way high in the air. It's gloved down by Freak, bottom of the circles in his own end. Now Brooks near side, up the middle. Caleb Pitsley poked away by Thorpe. Pitsley continues, he gets it deep to the Muskegon zone. Taken away by Benson though, and now here's Vukas. Around the wall for Sanderson. Up the middle of the ice for Benson, off the stick of a Capital. Niles the offensive zone. Off for Thorpe, but taken by Nevers. Throws a reverse check onto Christ, but gives the puck away to Vukas. Now Freak up the far side, heads up play by Vukas. Back to the offensive zone, he skates, drops off for Christ, fired just wide. It comes to Sanderson back in the neutral zone. Carter quickly back up to Christ, steps to the offensive zone. Freak knocks him down, Brooks takes possession. Poked away by Benson. Battle continues, it comes up to Belushko. Adam near side, Amico kicks it to his stick and finds Christ. Pitsley clears the zone though and leaves off for Nevers, who'll just chip it deep. Axelson way out of his crease, plays to the near side. Here comes Jonerheim off a pass from Amico. Griva taken away by Amico. Now Varala back down. Griva off for Prudhomme, fired on. The rebound for Varala, poked away by Thomas Maroon. Now Amico up the near side. Looking for Jonerheim, it's taken away by Griva. Prudhomme at the red line, taken away by Jonerheim, who gets it deep. Heil near side, Koasia. Now Prudhomme ahead for Varala, can't get it deep to the Muskegon zone, though it goes that way off the shin pad of Lucas Prudhomme. Jonerheim across the red line, sends it into the Madison zone. Heil stops it behind the net, leaves off for Koasia, and now here's Nolan Gertis. Butilla met by Larioza. Now here's Capel. Across for Koasia. Back down to Capel, far side corner. 6 minutes gone in the second period. Here's Capel. Up the wall. Stout, D to D with Gertis. Spins away from Jonerheim. Fires off the post. It stays out. Butilla gets the rebound. Noringer takes it away. Leading the rush to the near side. He finds Drew Stewart. Poked away by Gertis. Noringer picked it up for a moment. Gertis sends it back to the Muskegon zone, but now here comes Noringer ahead for Stewart. Behind the defense, Novotny fires on. It's pocketed away by Heil. Back into the neutral zone for Thorpe. You can hear the Madison bench cheering on their netminder. Stewart gets it into the Madison end. Noringer giving chase, forces it down behind the net. Met by Stout. Below the goal line, Novotny looking to fish it out. Noringer pinned to the boards, it comes away with Gertis, regained by Victor. Novotny to the near side, works up the wall. Leaves off for Thorpe, cuts to the middle and fires on, though Gertis deflects it way up onto the concourse here at Trinity Health Arena. 13:07 to go in the second period. Still tied here in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. 1-1, the USHL Game of the Week. We take a step aside and come right back here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp.
Orthopedic Associates of Muskegon is the largest orthopedic practice on the Lakeshore. Our fellowship-trained sports medicine specialists will help you choose the best treatment for your injury. Whether that's a non-surgical approach like physical therapy, bracing, or pain management, or the latest surgical technique, you can be the active, healthy person you were meant to be. Call us today to make an appointment, or make an appointment online at oamkg.com.
Welcome back inside FloHockey, the game of the week. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. The Lumberjacks and Madison Capitals tied up at 1 apiece. Alongside Ryan Campo, Ezra Janello with you. Ryan, shots 25-4 in favor of the Lumberjacks, though it's tied up 1 apiece where it matters.
Yeah, and a good scoring opportunity right there we saw from Melvin Novotny. Obviously the comments from head coach Colton St. Clair last night saying, hey, your best players have to be your best players. Prime example right there. You'd like to see him obviously bury it, but you're generating scoring opportunities. You're keeping the puck in the Madison zone. It's what you got to do, and eventually the tide will turn.
Face-off won by Madison, though a good effort by Burzcons. It's cleared out of the zone, and here comes Doshin sending it in. Bukas behind his own net to the far side. Ahead for Blanchard, cleared out to Christ, and here comes Burzcons. Near side, centered for Christ, he scores! What a great effort by the Lumberjacks. They take a 2-1 lead here in the middle stanza.
Shoot or shoot, and that's what Jack Christ does so well. The snapshot from just below the hash marks beats Caleb Heil below the glove. Great breakout there as well by the Jacks.
It starts with a puck retrieval from Bronco Bukas behind the net. He's not going to get a point on the play, but a perfect breakout by Muskegon, and it results in a grade A scoring chance and a perfect snapshot. Like you mentioned, Jack Christ, and like you said when we came back from the media timeout, your best players have to be your best players in the postseason. That's Jack Christ, the Chaska, Minnesota native.
Yeah, he's been so good during his time here. When the lights shine bright, he delivers time and time again.
Here come the Caps back ahead. Pitsley to the offensive zone. His cross-ice pass taken away by Sanderson. Regained by Pitsley in the corner and back out in front. Ferguson got his stick on it, but Axelson gets his glove on top. The Lumberjacks, Ryan, it's the whole team. That's who's providing offense. You see Carter Amico on the ice. The defenseman got the Jacks on the board back in the first period. Jack Christ adding the offense here in the second. First time tonight the Jacks have a lead.
Yeah, it's guys in different scenarios and different options that they have for Muskegon. That's why they make them so dangerous. Anyone up and down the lineup can score at any given night. We saw it last night with Ty and Louie and ATM driving the force. Tonight it's Meeks and Jack Christ there.
Amico wins possession in the corner. Centers for Belushko, and now here's Novotny. Back across Stewart. Set play by the Lumberjacks on the zone entry. It's Belushko now. Looking across for Novotny. Taken away by Nevers, and here comes Pitsley. 2-on-1 rush. Pitsley backhands it wide. Ferguson on the back door. Had it for a moment, but now here's Belushko. For Stewart. Ahead and out of the zone it goes. Curtis keeping it away from Sanderson. Now here's John Stout. Ahead for Varala. Deep to the Muskegon zone it goes. Belushko, the first one on it. Keeps it close for Thomas Maroon. Here's Novotny, swipes it forward. Brooks back down to the corner. Belushko ahead. Bergeron skates it across the blue line. And into the offensive zone he goes. He's met by Brooks, but gets it down to the corner. Chris spared Guidos. Heavy check by Thomas Maroon. Now here's Jonerheim to the middle for Bergeron. Taps it just wide. Teddy Lechner gets it now. Far side of the blue line to the near side. Larioza centered for Lechner. Down the slot. Fires on. Blocked. And here come the Caps. 3-on-2 rush. Bergeron a forward back covering. Here's Varala back across. Kriva the chance off the crossbar. And then the rebound for a Capital. It was Cooper Snee. He couldn't pull the trigger. Here comes Larioza back up the ice. Down to the near corner. Freak takes it away. A game of inches, Ryan. The game stays 2-1 in favor of the Lumberjacks.
And that's 2 posts right now so far through the first 10 minutes for Madison here in the second period.
Here's Larioza off for Thorpe. Back in his own zone. We take a quick look across the way to the Western Conference Final. That game underway in Sioux Falls. A minute gone, still 0-0. Benson, far side wall. It goes out of play. We take a look, Ryan, at Lumberjacks' bona fide goal scorer at this point, Jack Christ, future Minnesota State Maverick in the CCHA. He just tears up the score sheet in the postseason. He gets his team a 2-1 lead here in the second period.
Yeah, it's a big goal, big confidence booster for him. Hadn't seen him on the score sheet here in this series. A goal that can go a long way for the Jacks as they find the lead that they looked for last night, trying to add to it.
Here's Thorpe walking to the outside, sends it down low. Zemaitis back up the wall, cuts down to the corner. Centers for Benson. Butilla took it away. Back out to Benson. Zemaitis the try. Oh, it would have been something as he gets his way back into the lineup. But instead, here comes Capel. Down to the near corner. Thorpe gets it in his own zone. Far side for Vukas. Capel takes it back. Pinned to the boards by Thorpe. Butilla in to help out. Thorpe fishes it away, and now here's Blanchard behind the net. Gets it from Zemaitis, near side off the wall for Benson. Vukas joins the rush as Benson gets it deep. The Jacks, they change 4 out of 5. Niles wins possession below the goal line. Christ and Burzcons right back on for the Lumberjacks with Belushko and Amico. The battle continues behind the net. Christ fishes it out, looks out for Burzcons in front of the net, but it's Ryder who comes away with it. To the offensive zone, he sends it down low. Burzcons gets it, head up, feet moving, fires a pass across to Amico. Weird carom off the boards, it comes in the middle of the ice, and here comes Noringer. Kicks out to Chris, delayed penalty against Madison. Axelson goes to the net. Michael Tang touches up, and the Lumberjacks will get their first auto owners power play. A high sticking penalty against Madison, and Will Doshin sends us to immediate timeout. Auto owners power play for the Lumberjacks when we come back on the FloHockey Game of the Week. The Lumberjacks and Caps here at Trinity Health Arena. Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. Ezra Janello alongside Ryan Campo. Ryan, you take a look at the Eastern and Western Conference Finals here in the USHL. Tonight, Eastern Conference Final in Muskegon, capacity 3,500. Zenny Sanford Premier Center capacity, just about 10,700 people can fit inside for hockey games. I'll tell you what though, the atmosphere here in Muskegon, it's loud, it's a lot of fun. The Lumberjacks using it, and they look to capitalize with the man advantage as we come back from immediate timeout. Here's Novotny near side, the pass from Stewart down to the corner. Behind the net, Benson, met by Pitsley. In the corner, off for Stewart on the wall, and up top, Belushko. Back to Stewart. Belushko up top, near side, Novotny. Fires on, blockered away by Heil. The rebound up to the blue line for Belushko. Across to Stewart, centered for Benson, near side. Novotny, what a blocker save by Heil. Oh, Novotny was looking at a nearly empty net, but Caleb Heil got across the crease and punched the puck over the glass.
We talk about split-second decisions, the great passing from Muskegon. He doesn't take that a one-timer, and I think if it's an opposite hand, he is able to do that on the one-timer, but to stop the hesitation, able to him to get going, nothing wrong on his part, but it just gives Caleb Heil that extra split second to get over, going from his left to his right to make the blocker save.
Jacks stick with the same crew, Novotny and Sanderson centered by Stewart. Benson and Belushko on the back end. Stewart excused out of the face-off circle, so Sanderson leans in. A couple of guys wearing full face shields. Nevers, his counterpart, Sanderson emphatically wins it back, and here's Belushko. Near side, Novotny. At the hash marks, up top, Belushko. Back to Novotny, bounces over his stick. Sanderson gets it back and flips it across to Drew Stewart. 1:16 to go on the Auto Owners power play. Making the Mackenzie Price power play either way. Here's Benson. Fired on, blockered away. Curtis clears the zone all the way down the ice. The Jacks start the process of a line change halfway through the advantage. Belushko back to receive it. Drops off for Stewart. Noringer and Burzcons now fresh on the ice. Victor to the offensive zone. Centers for Novotny. Cover pokes it away, but Burzcons regains possession. Taken away by Free. Laid up the ice. Cover wanted it to be a breakout pass, but instead it's Cooper Snee who meets it behind the Jacks net. Pinned to the boards by Belushko. Vukas joins the effort to fish it out. So does Noringer. Jack Chris jumps on the ice as well. Puck comes away to Noringer, and the Jacks set up a structured breakout. Just 22 seconds to go on the power play. A Mackenzie Price power play, and here comes Chris. He's got the lone goal of the period. Down behind the net and across to Burzcons. Keeps it away from Stout, now plays up to Vukas. Centered to Amico. Near side, Noringer catches the pass. Back up top to Amico. Across the way to Vukas. Bronco works down low. Out of the box comes Doshin. Noringer on the wall. Net by Brooks. Taken away by Madison's defenseman. He looks to clear the zone. Noringer giving him the business on the near side wall. Victor comes away with possession. Though Doshin takes it away from Noringer. Amico keeps it in the offensive zone. Poked down the ice by Brooks. It's a race for possession. Puck on its edge. Rolls all the way to Axelson. And now here's Amico. Drops off for Vukas. Bergeron, Blanchard, and Thomas Maroon on for the Jacks. And a very rare icing call against the Lumberjacks, our second of the game, with 6:27 to go in the frame.
Yeah, we've seen it more and more as the game goes on. The puck bouncing a lot here inside Trinity Health Arena, and that's all that was, just a simple breakout pass from Bronco Vukas trying to find a man, and it goes over his stick, and Madison catching a break, trying to make him pay, trying to tie this one up at 2 now.
Very warm, very soft ice here in Muskegon. Always has been, always has been. In the early and late months of the season, as the weather outside is warmer, it's warmer inside the arena. Bergeron skated the puck all the way down the ice, though it was poked off his stick, and now here comes Capel. Forward for Butilla, the Caps back in the offensive zone. Larioza off for Bergeron, and now here comes Blanchard. Centered for Thomas Maroon. Larioza now leads the rush. Step behind the defense, he fires on. Shouldered away by Heil. And over the glass it goes once more.
You like that. We talk about how active the Muskegon defense is, and Larioza gets his second wave of speed going hard to the net, putting his head down. And you love that, going far side, trying to go high on Caleb Heil, sitting at 6'2", 196. So got to go high on a goalie that's kind of smaller than most we've seen.
Shots 7-4 in this period in favor of the Lumberjacks. Face-off won by Madison, and here's Larioza up for Sanderson. Taken away by Freak. To the near side, Varala, errant pass, and another icing call with 5:44 to go in the frame. Here comes a new unit for the Lumberjacks. It's Noringer, Burzcons, and Christ with Vukas and Thorpe. This is the unit that broke the tie earlier this frame.
Yeah, and 3 very offensively minded players, and then you had Thorpe and Vukas, who I thought have been exceptional so far here through the game.
Face off near side. Burzcons across from Griva. A couple of Latvians. Griva out of Riga. Burzcons out of Sessis. Here's Freeg up the near side. Thorpe at the red line sends it back in. It's Jack Chris who gives chase for the Lumberjacks. On the near side, Freeg clears it down the ice. Griva got a piece of it. Icing waved off. Griva was on his own half of the red line, so I'm not sure why. Thorpe plays it across to Thorpe. to Vukas, two big defensemen for the Lumberjacks, and now here's Chris near side. Across the way, Burrs comes. Rudy into the boards by Doshin. Noringer comes in and takes possession. Down to the corner, he looks to kick out for Christ, though it comes back to Doshin and into the neutral zone. He sends it. Freeg over the red line now, the blue, to the offensive zone. Away from Thorpe. Now Burrs Collins with it, leaves off for Gus, the former Des Moines Buccaneer. Christ goes ahead to Noringer. Over the red line, far side, Burrs Collins. A nifty move, he gets down to the corner and behind the net. On the near side, Burrs Collins turns and fires. Jet Kowasia blocked the shot. He'll lead the rush up the ice. The offensive zone, far side for Doshin. Rudy Burrs Collins takes it back in his own zone. Long shift for the Latvian forward. A reverse check for Novotny. He wins possession. Almost too many men on the ice against the Lumberjacks again. Though here's Sanderson, who regains possession for Muskegon as Stewart rejoins the effort. Drew, far side. To the near side for Sanderson. Catches the puck in stride. Now fires. Stout deflected the puck out of play. Well, Ryan, the Lumberjacks, you got to do what you got to do, right? Well, you got to toe the line and not cross it. They've been leaving so early on line changes, it almost bit them in the behind on that play.
Yeah, and, Sando not seeing Rudy after, like you mentioned, that long shift. So Rudy's like, hey, we got an odd man rush going back the way. I'm going to the bench. And a great play there by Stewart to realize that and say, oh, got to quickly jump back off the bench or off the ice and get on the bench.
Face-off won by the Jacks. Larioza had to quickly send it down the wall with Nevers right on him. Here's Jackson Nevers. Kept in by Novotny. Heavy check by Sanderson. Captain on captain crime. Curtis behind the net. Given away to Novotny near side. In front. Great save by Heil. It's loose. Called off. No goal. Now Novotny turned aside. Again they score. Drew Stewart side of the net. A never give up attitude. And a 3-1 Lumberjacks lead.
We talk about dirty goals. That's what's got to beat Caleb Heil. That a prime example there from Sando, Novotny, Stewie as we check out the MLive replay of the goal.
It starts with a great turnover caused by Sanderson, applying pressure deep. It caused an errant pass that Novotny picked off, and then a couple of really great saves by Caleb Heil. But Drew Stewart, talk about the best players being the best players, gets another goal, and he makes it 3-1 Lumberjacks with 3:35 to go in the second. That's how you're going to beat Caleb Heil, Ryan. Gritty goals in this unit. They love to score them. Now here comes Zemaitis across to Benson. Niles curls up the far side, carries back down, cuts towards the middle, and pokes out to Zemaitis. Gustis to Blanchard. In front, bouncing puck. Heil jumps on top. And another stoppage for a face-off in his own zone.
And give credit for Muskegon sticking to it. They're now up to 30 shots, 30-7. They've got 4 here in the second frame due to the Caps, and 2 of them have been dump-ins on Carl Axelson. That last one happening right around the 10.5-minute mark. So they're almost up to 7 minutes now without a shot on goal.
I like that. You had 2 times written on your sheet, and you keep pointing to them, but I had no idea what you were talking about with them. Zemaitis will take the draw near side. Listen, we're not numbers guys, so whenever one of us writes down numbers, it could be anything, yeah. Brooks swipes it far side. Capel in the neutral zone, taken back by Vukas. Here come the Lumberjacks. It's Zemaitis across. Benson fires on. Great block shot by Baird Gaidos. Now Thorpe a long try. Turn aside. It was Brooks. The defenseman got in the shooting lane. Benson pinned to the boards. Battle continues. Zemaitis knocked to the ice. The puck clears the zone. Here comes Ryder down to the near corner. Met by Vukas and knocked into the boards. Thorpe takes possession ahead to Benson, but regained by Freeg. Now Jet Kowasia. D-to-D with Freeg, and on the far side, here comes Vilhe Varala. Down to the corner, taken back by Benson. Up the far side, poked off his stick. Zemaitis looking to recover it. Great stick lift by Varala. He's back in the offensive zone. Behind the net, pops out in front. Axelson able to jump on top with 2:12 to go in the period.
Very important down the stretch here. That third goal seems like it's a very, very big insurance goal, knowing the fact that Madison can make him jump, make you pay on it, as we check out the latest goal scorer for the Jacks.
Drew Stewart, Minnetonka, Minnesota native, 61 points in the regular season for Stewart. You talk about guys that have been around the block. He started his USHL career. He scored his first career goal in this building as an affiliate player with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Played a full season in Cedar Rapids, traded to Muskegon, wins a Clark Cup, now trying to power his team to a second appearance in as many years. Here's Amico near side, up the glass and down the ice. Icing called against Muskegon, 1:53 to go in the second period. We've now matched and doubled the total from last night.
Yeah, which is wild. You don't often see that from two teams that, you know, make the safe play. Hard off the glass and out. And sometimes it rolls, sometimes it doesn't make it. But there weren't any times that we could have called it an icing and it trickled down.
Gertis off the draw, near side, Tang, hold, toe drag, fires and scores! Michael Tang shows off the goal-scoring ability, and it's back to a one-goal deficit with 1:46 to go in the second period.
Just mentioned, Muskegon's you felt like that third goal was huge given the fact of what Madison can do. And this is how they turned the tide last night. A great shot from Michael Tang, the patience, and using it to his advantage with the toe drag to find the back of the net.
It's not necessarily how hard you shoot the puck, but sometimes it's about where you shoot the puck, and that one perfectly placed. Bottom corner of the net, off the post and in for Michael Tang. His first goal of the playoffs gets his team back to within one. Here's Gertis, D-to-D with Stout. Madison in their own zone. Novotny cuts down the breakout pass, but it's forced out of the zone. Hand pass called on the ice, and now we'll come together. Novotny and Kober going at it in front of the Muskegon bench, while the rest of the guys are all tangled up just outside the Muskegon zone.
Something we haven't really seen a lot of here this evening is the extracurriculars after the whistle.
Take a look at the latest goal scorer, Michael Tang, Toronto, Ontario native. Future Harvard Crimson, 2009 birth year, a tender signing for Madison. There's a reason why players sign tenders, right? It's the best of the best. For the Lumberjacks, that's Ty Bergeron, who has been red hot this season. You have Zach Charbonneau coming into the mix. Tynan Lawrence and Rudy Burzkons, the last two tender signings before Ty Bergeron in Muskegon. Michael Tang, he's right there with them. Here's Sanders into the offensive zone. Cuts to the middle. It's taken off of his stick. Tyden Bergeson now off for Pitsley. To the offensive zone he skates. Jackson Nevers now fires it in front. No intended receiver on the pass. Sanderson clears it ahead to Novotny. Now here's Larioza. Up the wall, fires on. Weird carom off the pad of Heil. Sanderson keeps it in, and now here's Thorpe. Far side down the wall. Stout met by Novotny. Plays ahead to Bergeson, and now here comes Nevers. 3-on-2 rush. Pitsley near side. Gertis fired on. Rebound turned aside by Axelson as well. 45 ticks to go in the frame, and a face-off will follow in the Lumberjacks' end.
Madison doing what they did last night, getting back into it. Started with one goal, and then it came into a flurry. So Muskegon got to stay locked down this final 46, and then take a lead into the third period where you know it's going to be a stranglehold, where Madison's going to try to do the exact same thing they did to him just 24 hours ago.
Capel across from Burzkons, near side of the Muskegon zone. One back by Capel. Great poke check by Vukas. Got the puck up to the blue line and now plays across to Noringer. To the near side for Burzkons. Rudy fires on. Paddled away by Heil. Capel can't clear it. Christ sends it back down low. Heil to the near side. Coasia met by Christ. Turns into a battle. Comes to Burzkons. Behind the net he skates. Knocked to the boards by Capel. 20 seconds to go in the frame. Frieg looking to play it back behind the net. Here's Coasia. Up the near side. Butilla leads a rush. 10 seconds to go. Knocking Thorpe to the ice. Now here's Ryder. works down the wall, pushes behind the net. Time expires in the period as the two number 19s come together. And the Lumberjacks will take a 3-2 lead back to the locker room. After 40 minutes, plenty of offense to talk about. Both teams strike. And we take a step aside. A lot of excitement here in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. It's the FloHockey Game of the Week. Don't go too far. We come right back with a special guest here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by the Gray Supply Corp.
Man, I miss working from home.
Tell me about it. I work great from home.
I collaborate just fine from home. I like the environment more.
I think I'm more productive at home.
Some say there's too many distractions at home.
All right, maybe that one's true.
Hockey hits harder on Flo.
One-time shot, he scores!
At FloHockey, we love the game. Every shift, every hit, every goal. From rising phenoms to historic programs, get front row access to hockey's future stars. The AHL, the ECHL, the USHL, the O, the Q, and more. Don't just watch hockey, live it. Get your annual Flo subscription now.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more. No, stop!
Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 2. We're joined by Lumberjacks President Steve Lowe. Steve, thanks so much for coming up and joining us.
Hey, thanks, Ez. Thanks for having me.
Lowsy, as much as the season's still going on and we've still got hockey to play next week, and further on from there, you still have to look at the future in the USHL draft that comes this week. So I think the Lumberjacks are uniquely built, in which you have such a great staff, all the way leadership down, scouts included, to help build the future of Muskegon Lumberjacks hockey.
Yeah, you know, I came here in 2019. A lot of the guys that were with me in Tri-City came over. We actually went through some of the lists today, and we're such a well-oiled machine by now. Jimmy, the general manager, he's been with me, God, almost 15 years, and Wade has been with me good 12. Vinny's been, I think, 17. So we're such a well-oiled machine. We actually added an ex-Jack this year, Anthony Del Gaizo, and he was great in today's meeting. So we have a certain identity we look for, and those guys know the identity I want to play with, and they want to play with. So it's kind of like Groundhog Day, because we can speak each other's language by now by having consistency in the staff.
So a pretty busy couple of days coming up, the culmination of a lot of work over the past year or so, 2 years, scouting a lot of players from all over the world, not just here in the U.S. or Canada, even North America, but over in Europe as well. You have phase 1 of the USHL draft on Monday night, phase 2 on Tuesday, all day long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
it's long. They say you build your future in phase 1 and your roster in phase 2. You've got the 2010 birth years, the Lumberjacks draft class. It's already headlined by a pretty talented hockey player in Zach Charbonneau, the Lumberjacks tender signing.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to sign Zach. He's going to be a long list of, I personally feel, players that are going to play in the NHL. Our job with players like, what you're watching, Rudy and Burge and Ty and now Zach, all these players that have come here, I always tell our coaching staff, the job is they're thoroughbreds. Just make them run left and keep them on the track. Don't change too much, and so that's our job with Zach. He's an energy guy, and he has lots of energy as a person. He's an extremely talented kid, but what I love about Zach is his energy and his drive to be so successful. And our job is to harness all that and put our tools to work and make his dream come true, and it'll be a very happy day when we do that for him.
You mentioned they're thoroughbreds and they're built different. You have the Lumberjacks over the past 3 years. They lead the USHL in first-round draft picks. You had Sasha Boisvert and Matt Gridden back in 2024.
I'll correct you. I think we lead the almost North American NHL draft pick since I've been here. So yeah. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. You got Sasha Boisvert, Matt Gridden, first round in 2024. You have Tynan Lawrence and Rudy Burzcons coming up this summer, projected first-round picks. Rudy at 30th. Of course, Vaslav Nestrasil last summer at 24. Nestrasil and Gridden, they didn't start the year projected in the first round. You talk a lot about development and the coaching staff here, but also the scouts identifying players that have the ability to turn into that first-round talent with that coaching here in Muskegon.
Yeah, so we have to project, and you have to have the ability for your players to play into their identity and allow them to make mistakes. And I say to our coaches all the time, you got to empower our players in belief, and belief is an extremely powerful thing. And that's our job with young mature men, is we need to empower them, make them believe who they can be, and then our process on our every single day to get better, kind of the 1-0 that Parker put in here, it is a foundation that we're going to always live with, and we all try to steal things from each other, and make each other better. And my hat's off to Parker Burgess. He did a really good job of implementing the 1-0 strategy that we still have today.
And then the final question for you, Losey. We talked a bit about it in the pregame show. Every organization goes into this season asking themselves, what is the number one goal? And you can have multiple goals, right? Winning and developing players, but it feels like the Lumberjacks have married the two, the development side of junior hockey and the winning side of it. All these NHL draft picks, leading the world in NHL draft picks, but also winning a Clark Cup championship last season. How's that marriage come together here in Muskegon?
I think it starts with the ownership, right? The ownership, Pete Herms, and his ability to be passionate. I'm a pretty passionate guy, but if you get to know Pete, he's a pretty passionate guy, and he kind of fuels that. And I think it starts from him, and it starts from me, and having some accountability with our staff, and having a process that I personally believe in, and trying to live by that process every day, and a structure, if you will. And that I've done since day one here, and I did that in Tri-City and so forth. we have a philosophy on how to build teams, and we'll do that a little bit in phase 1 and in phase 2, and we'll try to keep that identity and that average age that we're accustomed to inside the organization.
It's going to be a lot of fun these next few days. We welcome in the next generation of Lumberjacks players. Zach Charbonneau and a whole lot of players will join him this Monday and Tuesday, and it's going to be a lot of fun in that war room with you guys at the beginning of the, a lot of long days the next couple of days or so.
That Tuesday, phase 2, it's a grind, that draft. It's and unfortunately, I think we got a lot of picks because we have a lot of players moving on, and which is our program, and so we have to fill some of our list and backfills, and so it'll be a long day, so look forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We come right back. We continue the second intermission report here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp.
Think back to the beginning. That first game, that first jersey, that first moment when you knew you'd found your place. What you wear today started with a feeling that changed everything. NHL Shop, a Fanatics experience.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more. No, stop!
Orthopedic Associates of Muskegon is the largest orthopedic practice on the Lakeshore. Our fellowship-trained sports medicine specialists will help you choose the best treatment for your injury. Whether that's a non-surgical approach like physical therapy, bracing, or pain management, or the latest surgical technique, you can be the active, healthy person you were meant to be. Call us today to make an appointment, or make an appointment online at oamkg.com.
Welcome back inside Trinity Health Arena, the USHL FloHockey Game of the Week, second intermission report. Ezra Janello, Ryan Campo. Ryan, a 3-2 Lumberjacks lead through 40 minutes. Similar territory, not quite the same, but similar as a night ago in Game 1.
Yeah, and now for the Jacks, they got to learn to finish and close this game out. You tie it up 1-1, and you head to Madison next weekend, pivotal Game 3 and 4, with a possibility to close things out on enemy territory over in Middleton.
As we talk about it, let's take a look at the highlights from that second period action. A lot of fun, not a lot of offense on one side of the ice, particularly the side occupied by Carl Axelson. Madison, 11 total shots through those first 40 minutes, though they do have 2 goals. Muskegon, they lead the shot chart 37-11. They had 40 shots last night. They're 3 off that mark here through 40 minutes in Game 2.
Yeah, and, once again, it's the lulls that they go through, and then they strike in quick succession. You had the goal, and then the 2 opportunities towards the end of that period. They hit 2 posts as well in that middle frame, one right there. And Muskegon able to do what they do.
Here's the goal for the Lumberjacks. Spurs Collins to Christ, fired off the post and in. We talked about Rudy. He's got to lead the way. Prove that you belong in the first round. Prove that 30 next to your name on the final rankings, that it's not a fluke, and he did so on that shift. I think he's had a strong game for the Lumberjacks so far tonight.
Yeah, and it all got started with Sando's great play, leading up to the breakout, and pays off.
Then there's that save from Caleb Heil, that blocker save on Novotny. I said it to you during the break, during that last commercial break. I'm a little tired, right? We played on Tuesday. We have Friday, right? It's a full 9-to-5 job every day in between. We got the phase 1 and 2 drafts coming up this week, and then we go to Matt. It's a lot of hockey and a lot of work for a month where most of the USHL is off right now, hitting the golf clubs over on the course. Caleb Heil has to be the most tired person within the zip code.
You got to wonder how much is left in the tank and how long this can survive if you're the Caps playing this way, because, yes, it's worked so far, but there's something in the back of your head that wonders, hey, how long truly can this last, where he's the reason that they continue to do what they do, but we'll have to see if it continues here in the third.
Caleb Heil, I've got to imagine they retrofitted their team bus to have a king-size bed and silk sheets, and he's getting a steak dinner from Carlisle's tonight after the game. The way that they're trusting their season in Heil, he's played phenomenal for them. You just have to hope, if you're Madison, that it continues on. And now if you're the Lumberjacks, we transition into this upcoming third period. You found yourself with a 1-goal lead going into the third period last night. A lopsided differential on the shot chart. But Madison, they almost lulled you and lulled you and lulled you, and then bang, third period starts, and here comes the offense for Madison. The Lumberjacks, they might have taken the lead for granted, and all of a sudden they lost it 5 minutes into the period. How do you prevent that from happening here in Game 2?
Lockdown defensively. I think it goes with that. We saw it towards that end of the second period. They scored, and then they had 2 really, really good opportunities under a minute to play where you thought, uh-oh, if they tie this, who knows what could happen in the third when you got the pressure on you, knowing the fact that you have to, you want to try to tie this up. Yes, you don't want to go down 0-2 and have to save your life, in Middleton. It's crucial. You gotta walk away with a split, and it comes down to a shutdown final 20 miles here in the third period to get this all tied up.
If you're Madison and you're Andy Brandt, head coach of the Capitals, I mean, the guy's been around, right? He coached in the ECHL. Yeah. He's coached here in the USHL. He was on the bench at Wisconsin as an assistant coach in the NCAA. So the guy's been around the block. He played pro hockey in the NCAA and in ECHL. What's the message to his team as they're also in some familiar territory, as last night a game that ended up in the win column?
Use the momentum to your advantage. They have the momentum right now. That last minute 50, it was controlled by them. They eventually scored about 4 seconds later and used that. And then we saw what happened last night where they can strike so quick, which is, it's so crazy given how weird of a sport this is, where you think you have all the momentum and you blink and it's tied up. And for Muskegon, they're going to have to stave off a big, big comeback here in the third from Madison.
20 minutes of regulation, that's all that's left. We take one more step aside and come back to the USHL Game of the Week. The Lumberjacks and Capitals, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Or no.
Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp. Ron, you just heard that? That's called a miscommunication between you and I. The Lumberjacks, they need to limit that here in the third period. A 1-goal lead, 20 minutes away from tying up this best-of-5 series at 1 win apiece. They start out this third period with Thomas Maroon, Bergeron, and Jonerheim, Belushko, and Amico. It's Capel with Ryder and Butilla, Frey and Kowasia on the back end for Madison. Caps win the opening draw of the frame. They send it deep to the Muskegon zone. The Jacks going left to right across your screens and radios, and here they come. On the near side, Bergeron gets it deep. Heil behind the net, swipes it across for Kowasia. Chipped high in the air, Belushko knocks it down. Looks for a pass for Jonerheim, but is taken by Freak. Up the near side it goes and sent in. Axelson slows it down. Belushko swipes it up the ice. Almost too many on for the Capitals, but here's Freak taking possession. On the near side, Jonerheim takes it away. High in the air, Freak kicks it forward, and here comes Caleb Pitsley. The offensive zone, bouncing on to Axelson. Corrals the rebound and holds on our first stoppage. Comes 47 seconds into the action.
We talk about defensively locking it down for Muskegon, and it starts with that man right there. Only 11 shots through 40 minutes. You gotta think that's gotta be tough for a goaltender, not seeing much throughout this, and I wonder what goes through his head. What goes through his head when he's going through these lulls of not seeing much rubber towards him.
Face-off won by the Caps. Sanderson clears the zone, joining Novotny on the rush now. The offensive end, Sanderson, backdoor for Stewart. Pass was between his feet. Back into the neutral zone, heavy check by Sanderson, but now here's Bergeson. Across for Pitsley. Thorpe pokes it away. Pitsley knocked to the ice. Sanderson looking for possession. Pitsley still with it. Off for Bergeson, fired on. Now Stewart has to punch it near side. Finds Sanderson on the wall. Across for Novotny. Melvin, high in the air to the neutral zone. It's knocked down by Gertis. Back to the offensive end. In front, it's poked away by a Lumberjack. Doshin with it again. Fired on. Vukas deflects it out of play.
Yeah, Madison almost catching Muskegon on the end of the change right there, but to no avail. 29 says otherwise, and a great block shot there for the Lumberjacks, something we've seen a lot of and we'll need down the stretch here in these final 18 and a half minutes.
Face off near side. Burrs Collins leans in for the Lumberjacks. Wins it back. Lechner clears the zone. Bouncing puck. Baird Guidos keeps it close. Now here's the latest goal scorer in this game, Michael Tang. Off for Brooks and up the ice. No icing, so Axelson off for Larioza. Teddy Lechner now. Up the near side. Baird Guidos takes away the breakout pass. Burrs Collins recovers it. Makes his way to the offensive zone. Heavy check from Doshin. Knocks Rudy down to the ice, but here's Larioza. Steps into a slap shot. That Heil kicks away. Larioza out for Rudy. He can't pull the trigger. Lechner sends it down the wall and behind the net. Far side, Brooks up the wall. Tang cuts to the middle. Over the red line. Softly carries it in. Though offside, Stephen Kober just a step ahead of the play.
Yeah, trying to dump it in. Didn't try to again, and then just like what we had, miscommunication of things, and to no avail. They were trying to change anyways, so they get what they want in that line change.
Face off far side, Zemaitis and Grieva. Won by the Caps. Belushko shut down the zone entry, and now it's back in the neutral zone with Snee playing it for Freak. Koasia to the offensive end, he skates. Stood up by Belushko. Amico now, D to D to the near side with the forward covering Niles Benson. Now Belushko, he'll lead the rush. Off for Blanchard, he centers it. Grieva takes it away and clears the zone. Amico, near side, Zemaitis. Gustis back in his own end, up the wall for Benson. Now to the offensive zone, it's Blanchard. Fires on. Nice save by Heil, had to track the rebound, does so, and holds on for the stoppage. That brings some extracurricular activity. 3 minutes into this third period. Take a look at the MLive replay. This one not shooting to score, but shooting for a whistle and a line change for the Lumberjacks at the end of a shift.
Yeah, and shooting for a rebound too. Heil having to look behind himself to make sure he had it, and good on Meeks, driving the force, going to the net for a rebound, even though as a defenseman, still has the ability to do that.
Face off near side of the Madison zone. Stewart wins it back. Novotny across to Thorpe, bounces to the wall. Now here's Ryder. Kicks out, Butilla, centers, Capel, fires it just wide. Back to the far side, Ryder, up top, Gertis, near side, Stout, fires on, punched out of the air by Carl Axelson. Sanderson makes his way up the near side of the ice and into the neutral zone, colliding with Stout. Puck taken by Gertis. Sanderson can't keep it in. Vukas keeps it close, though. Sanderson chases Stout back to the Madison zone. Now here's Ryder. Met by Stewart. Poked away by Drew. To the offensive zone. Jacks are offside, so Stout free possession. Heavy collision far side of the ice. Nevers and Sanderson colliding. Here comes Jackson Nevers to the offensive end. Played off the back wall. Lechner keeps it away from Bergeson, and Axelson jumps on top.
Yeah, collision right at the bench. Sando trying to come off the ice. Nevers trying to get on the ice, and two bodies colliding to no avail. Officials just see it as a harmless hockey play. Guys going to the bench, guys coming off the bench, and that's hockey.
That's hockey. Far side, Thomas Maroon, he'll take the draw. Sam Capel, his counterpart, make it Caleb Pidsley, who leads in from the Lumberjacks, future Western Michigan Bronco. Came to the Lakeshore from St. Louis, Missouri. Was drafted originally by Green Bay in the USHL draft. Loves the Lakeshore so much in West Michigan, he's going to stay here for his college hockey playing days. Here's Baird Guidos, near side of his own zone. Up the wall for Bergeson, met by Bergeron. Ty takes possession over the red line, now the blue. Near side, cuts to the middle, fires on. A nice save by Heil. Now Bergeron behind the net, pops out in front. Jonerheim takes it away from Bergeson, but Nevers regains possession. The offensive zone, offside are the Caps, 15-24 to go in regulation.
Another one of those bang-bang plays. We've had three now in the last 24 hours where it's been real tight at the blue line, and the officials right on there. And some have gone to Madison's way, others gone to Muskegon as we check out the MLive replay of that tie opportunity. We talked about him a lot last night, getting that game's first goal, how much he's done to develop his game just in this season, and a lot of praise from head coach Colton St. Clair as well last night.
We take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. 1-1 through 1 in the Western Conference Final. It was Fargo and the former member of the Chicago Steel, Colin Sisson, who opened the scoring at the 11:57 mark. But then Thomas Zacco tied the game for the Herd with 52 seconds to go until the break. Axelson forced to hold on to the puck in his own zone, so the face-off will stay in the Muskegon end.
Muskegon already at their shot total. Sorry to cut you off. They're as 40 shots already.
How dare you? Burrs calls across from Cover, one back by the Caps. Belushko behind the net. Off for Burrs Collins, and now here comes Noringer over the red line, sends it in. Heil sticks it down, plays near side, back to the neutral zone. Amico takes it, and now here's Belushko. Noringer now across the way. Rudy leaves off for Christ, but Frieg takes it away. Just over 5 minutes gone in this third period. Noringer causes a turnover. Frieg recovers, keeping it away from the dangerous Jack Christ. Clearing the zone, Will Doshin. Ahead for Tang, working on Belushko. Cuts down low, plays up top for Kowesia. Away from Noringer and behind the net. Great check by Amico, running into his counterpart behind the net. Up top, it's Stout. Near side of the blue line, down the wall, Prudhomme. Up top, Kowesia fires along the ice, looking for a redirection. Varala gets it back, up top to Stout. Down the wall, Prudhomme fires a try, blocked by Belushko, trickles in on goal. Adams on top of it, looks to swipe it below the goal line and does so, finding Burzkals. Now here's Varala, taken away by Noringer. Long shift for the Lumberjacks on the ice. Blanchard clears the zone. Though it's kept close by Curtis, the Jacks can change 2 out of 5. Here's Prudhomme right back in. Blanchard takes possession, plays ahead to Benson. Leading the rush, the offensive zone. Niles off for Blanchard, fired on. Blocked by Curtis. To the near side it comes. Zemaitis spin to the boards at the Red Bank Generals advertisement. Battle continues behind the Madison goal. Prudhomme takes it away. To the far side for Curtis. Over the red line to the near side, Gustavs Grieva, met by Vukas. Bronco carries it to the far side. He'll lead the rush. Near side, he flips it to Benson. To the offensive zone, Niles, plenty of space. Fires off the backside as Zemaitis. Turned aside by Heil. And now here come the Caps. Capel chips and chases. Thorpe the first one on it. Taken away by Butilla. Bouncing puck far side of the crease. A shot onto Axelson, shouldered it away. Now Freak down the near side. Bukas back up the wall. Butilla takes it again. Stripped by Benson, who backhands it down the middle of the ice. Wide of the net, so icing called against the Lumberjacks with 12:40 to go in regulation.
And a group that's been out there quite some time for the Jacks, looking like they could get off the ice, and a harmless dump and chip from Benson to no avail. Eventually goes down to the end of the ice, and it's plays like that. This is where Madison can capitalize with just one little turnover. It's the little things we talk about so much that Madison capitalizes on.
Face off far side of the Jack zone, but they'll take their time out. 12:40 to go in regulation. We stay right here. We take a look at the scoring summary in this one. A 3-2 Lumberjacks lead. It was first, though, Stephen Cover for the Capitals, who gave his team the lead. 1:46 into the contest, his first goal of the postseason. The Lumberjacks responded just about 3 minutes later. Carter Amico, the defenseman and Philadelphia Flyers draft pick, jumping up in the rush and scoring his first goal of the playoffs with assists from Jack Christ and Drew Stewart. Christ then picked up his second point of the game, opening the scoring in the second period, the 7-11 mark, off a nice play alongside Burrs, Collins, and Blanchard. Then it was Drew Stewart cashing in on a rebound from the near side of the net. Melvin Novotny and Carter Sanderson on the assists. Michael Tang brought the game back to within one at the 18-14 mark of the second. His first goal of the playoffs off helpers from Nolan Curtis and Will Doshin. Ryan Curtis with the assist stays at a point-per-game rate here in the Clark Cup playoffs.
Yeah, wild to see what he's been able to do in their run. And yes, they haven't gotten many points or goals, but anytime there is there is one, he's normally involved, and rightfully so. Him and Nevers both trying to carry this team to the next round.
Down low, Bergeson thrown out in front, cleared away by Zemaitis. Caps are offside. Benson D-to-D with Vukas up the far wall, chips it ahead. The Jacks can get a much-needed line change. It's Sanderson's unit with Novotny and Stewart, who jump back on. 12:16 to go in regulation. Sanderson takes it away deep in the Madison zone. Works to the far side and now up towards the blue line. Cuts to the middle. Fires a shot that's blocked in front. Sanderson gets it back. Takes a check from Brooks. Continues the battle for it. Novotny gains it now. Whistle blown. The Jacks are going shorthanded. That's a terrible call in a postseason hockey game. Two players tangled up, and you can hear how the fans feel about it. One goal game, Eastern Conference final, and that's the penalty that's called. That's not consistent with how the officiating has been during the postseason. We take a step aside, immediate timeout, 11:59 to go in regulation. We'll be right back here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by the Gray Supply Corporation.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more.
One final reminder that this Muskegon Lumberjacks broadcast is brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance. For over 100 years, Auto Owners has been dedicated to the independent agency system. Get local support from somebody you know. Whether it's home, auto, life, or business, ask your independent agent if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you. Take another look at this penalty against Carter Sanderson. Two guys tangled up. You can't, there's no way. What is Sanderson supposed to do there? If Pitsley has control of Sanderson's arms and he's trying to get free, and you saw him there at the end, he's throwing his hands up like playoff hockey game. Listen, you want to call that in the regular season, fine, call that in the regular season. But in a one-goal game in the conference final in the third period, I don't know that you call it, not with the way the officiating's been so far in the playoffs.
And that's the thing, too. This is the third penalty tonight. And they've let the guys play, which officials, that's what they do in the postseason. Let them play. Let them dictate how this thing turns out. Not a weak call that could favor Madison when they try to pounce.
Here comes Bergeson, centered for Koasia, kicks out to Butilla. Koasia down behind the net to the far side. Burzkons. Now Noringer. He'll lead the rush, shorthanded to the offensive zone, hits the brakes and curls up the wall. A great play. He'll just go backwards for Larioza. A great play, but a dangerous one. Almost picked off by a Capital. Either way, the Jacks send it down the ice, and they get a line change. It's Stewart and Blanchard in front of Thorpe and Bukas. Here comes Tyden Bergeson to lead the rush. Across the way, Capel. Up top for Curtis, and down low it's Koasia. Blanchard intercepts a centering pass. Koasia gets it back, and now here's Curtis. Playing pass with Butilla. Curtis, Butilla, back up top to the defenseman. Walks to the near side and across to Koasia. Far side half wall, up top now again Curtis, near side Butilla. One-timer, blocked in front, off the crossbar, then a rebound save made by Axelson, and a high stick called against Madison, puts it into the play.
The block shot, no one knew where it was going. Next thing you know, rattles off the iron, and the third time this evening a Madison Capital has hit the post, and a heck of an effort coming back, realizing where things were was Carl, and a high stick for the Caps puts the play outside.
Game of inches. Another crossbar, and the Lumberjacks, they stay in the lead 3-2. And how about another beautiful save by Carl Axelson as well on the rebound chance. Caps are back to the offensive zone, still on the advantage for another 36 seconds. Though great play by Muskegon, the puck's all the way down the ice. Rudy Burzkons involved in the play, joined by Novotny, Larioza, and Amico. Caleb Pitsley stretching the Lumberjacks defense, standing inside the Muskegon zone, while here comes Michael Tang. Near side, Grieva, taken away by Amico, swipes it behind the net. Larioza now to the blue line, kept in by Pitsley. Down the wall for Tang, met quickly by Larioza. A bouncing puck, Jacks can't clear it. Here's John Stout. Across for Tang. 3 seconds to go on Sanderson's penalty. Burzkons clears the zone. Sanderson out of the box. Grieva keeps it away from Novotny. And now here's Stout. Off for Ryder. Larioza takes it. Near side finds Sanderson. Colliding with Pitsley, who had drawn the Sanderson penalty. Zemaitis flips it far side. Amico met by Doshin just inside the Muskegon blue line. Now a shot from Cover, turned aside by Axelson. Sanderson makes his way up the near side. Off the glass and into the offensive zone. Brooks meets it in the corner, icing waved off. Andy Brandt cannot believe it. Nevers looks to clear the zone. He finds Freeg near side, but Lechner takes it back. Lechner for Zemaitis to the offensive end, and offside are the Lumberjacks. 9:14 to go in regulation. We take one more step aside. 3-2, Lumberjacks, they lead Game 2 of this Eastern Conference Final here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by the Gray Supply Corp.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Jervis Fethke Insurance Agency in Muskegon if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more.
Welcome back inside FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network on Mixler. Ezra Janello alongside you. Joined by Ryan Campo upstairs here in the press box at Trinity Health Arena. 3-2, the Lumberjacks, they lead it. 9:14 to go in regulation. A neutral zone face-off sees Zemaitis back on the ice with Benson and Blanchard, Lechner and Belushko. Cover, Tang and Doshin for the Caps, Freeg and Brooks on the back end. Gustis will take the draw. Near side, though it's won back by Cover, and here come the Caps up the ice. An errant pass wide of Carl Axelson, so icing called against Madison. Jacks get to choose what side they want it on, and they'll bring it to the near side. Shots are 41-18 in favor of the Lumberjacks. Last night, they were 40-22.
And I got to give credit to the 6D men they have tonight. You take out JSD for offense and Goose, and a tip of the cap to the 6D men tonight for the Jacks. A lot of hockey in a short amount of time. They've done well, and they'll need to do well the final 9.
Puck trickles to the neutral zone from the Muskegon end. Brooks sends it right back in. Axelson stops it, leaves off for Teddy Lechner. To the near side for Benson, tapped for Zemaitis. Gustis into the neutral zone, pushed off possession by Tang. Zemaitis gets it back and plays backwards for Lechner. Now here's Vukas. Near side of his own zone, crossing over, gaining speed, leading the rush. He finds Blanchard ahead. Tapped onto Heil, swiped away by Curtis. 8.5 to go in regulation. The Caps hold the momentum and they hold possession. Here comes Curtis, poked away by Thorpe. Ty Bergeron now to the near side. Vukas, the offensive zone. He fires on. Rebound try by Thomas Maroon. Blocked and pushed to the near side. Now Koasia behind the net. Heavy check by Tony. Knocks Koasia off the puck. Vukas stays on his feet. Thorpe can't keep it in. Here comes Prudhomme behind the defense to his forehand. He scores. Terrible step by the Lumberjacks defenseman. And the Caps tie the game at 3 apiece.
Something we've talked about time and time again with this team. You give them an inch, they'll give you a mile. And a weird play at the blue line. Bronco blows a step, unable to gather himself. Next thing you know, it's a chip play out, and Prudhomme beats the Jacks defender, beats Carl, and all of a sudden we're tied at 3-3, and shots are 41-19, which is just like what it was some 24 hours ago.
It's the same story as a night ago. Madison, they manage and manage and manage and manage, and they've had the momentum here in the third period. The Lumberjacks looking to play Lumberjacks hockey down the stretch, now doing so in a tie game. Here's Belushko, near side Amico. Now Drew Stewart ahead for Novotny. To the near side, Sanderson. Down low, Novotny. Brooks in the corner. Stewart far side. Bouncing puck taken by Capel. Up top, Belushko keeps it in. Adam walks to the middle. Fires on. Pinballs off a body. It was blocked in front by Brooks. But now here's Drew Stewart. Behind the net, Novotny. Back out in front. Taken away by a Capital. It's Brooks. Kept in by Stewart. Jacks need a line change. Instead, they'll stay with the same trio up front. A failed breakout pass from Stout. Turns into a reverse check for Sanderson. Stout regains possession and clears the zone. Lechner off for Larioza. Here's Teddy. Right back up to Drew Stewart. He'll send it in. Lumberjacks get that line change. It's Christ with Noringer and Burzkons. Christ causes a turnover. Down low, Noringer. Works back up the near side and across the way, Larioza. Steps into a shot. Christ deflected it just wide of the net. Here's Jack Christ near side. Across to Larioza. Down below the goal line, Heil forced to hold on. Does so, and the Jacks will get an offensive zone face-off. I'll tell you what, Ryan, I said terrible step by the Lumberjacks defenseman, and same story as last night. It's just that one mistake, right? It happens just to come, as you see Lucas Prudhomme, he's the beneficiary of it. The 6'2", 202-pound forward, not a lot of breakaways for guys of that size. He capitalizes on the opportunity he gets. It's minimizing those, for lack of a better term, brain farts late in games that the Lumberjacks need to figure out as they go through the postseason.
And you got to love the fact that Muskegon goes to their top line to try to get some momentum, and then they bring out Chris Group with Vic and Rudy to try to continue that, to try to get the lead back.
Ferguson clears the zone, but Lechner sends it right back in. Heil plays near side for Freak. Across to Curtis. To the near side he goes, up the ice. Ferguson got it deep to the Muskegon zone. Axelson swipes it far side. Nevers takes it away. Now Ferguson bounced over his stick. Here comes Noringer. Drawn down to the ice was Larioza. You can't call the Sanderson one, but leave your arm down for this. Either way, here comes Noringer. Near side half wall. Poked off his stick. Bergeson to the neutral zone. Up to the red line, he sends it in. The frustration isn't necessarily that they don't call the penalty or that they do call the penalty. It's with the inconsistency in a tie game in the conference final. Icing waved off. Here's Heil behind the net. Sends it up the middle of the ice to Michael Tang. He'll lead the rush. Looking to Doshin near side. He takes it back and sends it down low. Thorpe to the far side. No one home. Here's Doshin. Off for Tang. Far side of the Jacks end. Tang works up to the blue line. Centers. It comes to Stout up top. His long shot deflected wide by Cover. Tang again. Works up top, cycles down low. Doshin ran into by Zemaitis. Now Cover off for Tang. Met by Blanchard. Coasia, near side Stout. Fired back door. Great stick by Blanchard. Off the backside of Axelson, it stays out. Off the near side glass and all the way down the ice. Icing called as Stout wins the race. 4:44 to go in regulation.
One, I don't know how that stayed out with how deep Carl was, and a ricochet off the official below the goal line as we check out the MLive replay. And two, an unfortunate bounce now because Muskegon's already used their timeout. So in a time when they need a timeout to use it, it's already been burned because you've been in this situation before where dead legs, you need a timeout, you need a breather, need to get some water. The Jacks unable to.
Zemaitis will take the draw. One back by Varala. Prudhomme had it on the wall, poked away by Thorpe. Now Zemaitis across to Vukas. Benson cutting through the middle, gets it to the offensive half of the ice. Jacks get a line change. Two guys collide. It was Zemaitis and Amico. They separate. And now the Caps back in the Muskegon zone. Freeg met by Sanderson. Heavy check by the Jacks captain. And here comes Thorpe. Sanderson knocked down by Freeg. The two still tangled up while Novotny sends it in. Behind the net, Brooks. Away from Stewart. All the way down the ice it goes, and icing called against the Capitals.
Yeah, big opportunity here for the Jacks. Got the big line out there right now, and another one of those opportunities for what looked like a penalty to no avail, and the officials trying to figure out who was on the ice for Madison and who wasn't, and the game of charades is played, and now we finally have 5 out for the Caps.
Brooks comes back onto the ice. Stewart will take the draw across from Varala. Turns into a battle, won by Muskegon. Here's Amico at the blue line. Pressured by Prudhomme. Amico fires on. Turned aside by Heil. Stewart behind the net, pops out in front. They score! It's Carter Sanderson. The crowd goes nuts.
The play at the blue line. Melvin Novotny, Carter Amico. Melvin gives him some space. Meeks put it on net. And guess who's in front? Carter Sanderson off we told you a dirty goal was probably going to have to do it. And that's about as dirty as you can get. Stewart doesn't get all of it. Sando with his stick on the ice. The Jacks regain the lead. Now they got to close it out here in the final 4 minutes to tie this series up at 1 apiece.
Center ice draw won by Madison. Here's Coasia in his own zone. Up the near side, Larioza meets it in his own end. 4-3, the Lumberjacks, they lead it. Here's Vukas, met by Ryder. Burzcons now ahead for Jack Christ. The offensive zone, they skate Noringer. Near side, stays onside, cycles it down low to Burzcons. Behind the net, Coasia. His breakout pass knocked down by Christ. Now Capel met by Burzcons. Heavy check. Rudy sends it back down low. Heil behind the net near side. Curtis ahead for Ryder. 3:04 to go in regulation. Axelson, far side Amico, taken away. Great stick by Thomas Maroon, who clears the zone. Doshin to the near side finds Stout back in his own end. Back to the offensive zone goes Madison. Doshin met by Belushko, near side corner. Behind the net, Thomas Maroon drops far side. Pinned to the boards by Tang. Belushko now to the near side, ahead for Benson, off the glass and down the ice. Not enough mustard for the icing. The Jacks get a line change. Freak blew a tire. A good recovery by Heil though, and now it's back to the Muskegon zone. Icing called against Madison with 2:25 showing on the center hung video board.
If you're Muskegon, you're fine with that. Madison trying to get pucks in. Muskegon's got to go hard off the glass or hard off the boards. Get the puck out, get a fresh group out. This is the war of attrition right now. You played a game Tuesday, a hard-fought game last night, as we check out Carter Sanderson, who gave the Jacks the lead.
Well, we talked to head coach Colton St. Clair last night about a leader like Sanderson missing a couple of teeth, putting on a full face shield, continuing to lead the way physically and goal scoring wise. As the puck goes out of play, Madison can change, but the faceoff will stay inside their zone.
And if you're Muskegon, it's just try to control the puck, try to control possession this final 2:21 to try to close it out and get this series evened up heading back to Middleton next week for games 3 and 4.
Stewart will take the draw. His counterpart, Sam Capel. Near side of the Madison zone. 2:21 to go in the third. 4-3 the Lumberjacks, they lead it. Koasia off the draw, takes possession. Dipsy doodling in his own zone. He finds Curtis behind the net. Watch for Heil to go to the bench. Here come the Caps. Capel looks far side, fires on. Axelson kicks it away. Heil at the top of the circles. The puck coming his direction, though it's picked up by Curtis. Off the glass, taken back by Novotny. Played backwards for Vukas. As long as the Jacks have it, Heil can't go to the bench. Jacks get it deep. They start a line change as well. Burrs, Collins, Sanderson, and Christ up front. Sent behind the Lumberjacks net. Go to the bench, Heil. The extra attacker came on wicked early. Here's Christ. Taken by Capel, now Stout. Walks the middle, down low Bergeson. Fired on. Belushko swipes it up the wall. Rudy chips it in the air. Curtis gloves it out, but it's Christ who meets it near side. Jack Christ hits the brakes. Centers for Noringer. Backdoor, Burns calls, they score! Lumberjacks with 1:15 to go.
A sigh of relief for Lumberjacks fans. Kind of a fluky play there. Gertis could have had time to control it. Instead, he takes a whack at it with his glove. Jack Christ, the beneficiary there, sticks with it. Heads up play, finds Vic. Vic, the extra pass. Confident goal there for Rudy. I think gets him going, looking to get on the score sheet. And a big sigh of relief. Not out of it yet, but all entail a big insurance goal for the Jacks.
Well, yeah, and you look at the play. Chris gets the puck near side. He doesn't just throw it towards the empty net. He gets it to Noringer, who doesn't just throw it to the empty net. He gets it across to Burrs Collins, who had the best look out of the three of them. Maximizes the probability of a goal, and the Lumberjacks, they now lead it by 2. 1:04 to go in regulation. Back in the net, Caleb Heil. Puck comes out to the neutral zone. He'll stay put as Freak plays to Brooks. Now Sneed to the offensive end. Down low, Gustav Skriva. Pushed out in front. Belushko blocked the pass. Skriva knocked to the boards near corner. It comes out to Benson. He'll clear the zone. Play off the near side. Blanchard continues the offensive end. 35 seconds to go in regulation. Here's Curtis to the offensive zone. Pushed out in front. Axelson makes another save. Near side, it's Goshen across to Curtis. Hands on the shot. Blanchard takes it away. Near side for Benson to the offensive zone. 16 ticks to go. Benson fires on. Hiles blocks it aside. Here comes Doshin back ahead. Just 10 seconds to go in regulation. Jonerheim to the near side. 4 seconds on the clock. One last shot from Gerdish. And the Lumberjacks, a 5-3 win. They even the series up at 1 apiece.
We talked pregame, Muskegon 2-0 in games in this postseason when they've lost. Now you can add it to 3-0, and it's something about this team that when adversity strikes, they rise higher. Their game rises to the next level, and that's a credit to the veterans in the group, the coaching staff making sure the guys are prepared to make sure they extend their season as long as possible.
Don't go anywhere. I'm headed downstairs talking with our number one star, and the post-game show comes up here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Gray Supply Corp.
Let's hear you, Lumberjack fans.